Kirk was the finest person, but he didn't deserve this.
A suspect now in custody.
What we know about the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk.
Plus, a shooting at a Colorado school leaves 2 students hurt and the alleged shooter dead. New information about the investigation being released today.
And the president announcing today which major U.S. city the National Guard will be sent to and which city he still wants to send more troops to. After a 33-hour manhunt, a suspect is in custody in connection with the killing of Charlie Kirk. Authorities arrested 22-year-old Tyler Robinson late last night. Robinson has no prior criminal history. He's currently being held without bond, and sources say he is not cooperating with investigators at this time. According to Utah Governor Spencer Cox, he confessed to a family member.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Some of the evidence collected included a bolt-action rifle and shell casings with engraved inscriptions. Authorities believe he acted alone. Robinson's family says the alleged shooter became more political in recent years and spoke negatively about Kirk.
If you've been on social media the past few days, you've probably seen a lot of passionate posts related to Kirk's death. But those comments and posts are getting some people in trouble. Toledo Fire says they're doing an internal investigation after a member made a post referencing Charlie Kirk's death. The department has also placed stations on lockdown today. An official says this is not because of threats, because it's out of precaution. Megan Hartnett has more.
A Toledo Fire member is under investigation after a social media post made about Charlie Kirk's death. Toledo Fire officials have not released what the post said, but comments on the department's pages say a lieutenant allegedly wrote that the shooting is a result of Kirk's political beliefs. The city has a social media policy that says discriminating, harassing, threatening, or other similar inappropriate or unlawful comments will not be tolerated. These can lead to disciplinary action and potentially being fired. Sam Nelson, an associate professor of political science, says freedom of speech for public employees can become complicated.
Everybody is still feeling their way through how do we deal with this? How do we balance the First Amendment rights of our employees who are American citizens and have First Amendment rights with the needs of the public that we serve.
While looking into the Toledo Fire internal investigation, WTOL 11 learned that Sylvania Township recently had to conduct an internal investigation and punish a township firefighter for social media use. A township trustee says the firefighter violated the township social media code after posting political comments unrelated to Charlie Kirk. Nelson says he knows situations like these trigger questions about the First Amendment and freedom of speech.
Everyday people's commitment to free speech is pretty strong for themselves and for people who they agree with, but not as strong when they're talking about people they disagree with. It's a lot harder to really protect the free speech rights of people who you oppose or you dislike intensely.
That was Megan Hartnett reporting. A local school board member has also issued a public apology after reacting with a laughing emoji to a post about Kirk being shot. The board member says that was a mistake. The board member says they do not condone anyone being assassinated, no matter what political party they affiliate themselves with. Kaylee.
Going on in the country and world right now, a teen athlete will make history this weekend. The Federal Trade Commission investigating artificial intelligence companion chatbots. The president announcing the city the National Guard will be deployed to next. But first, an update to a school shooting that left 2 students injured. Investigators have been combing through the belongings of the teenager who opened fire at the school outside of Denver on Wednesday. Agents searched Desmond Holly's room and backpack in his locker at Evergreen High School. The sheriff's office says the 16-year-old has been radicalized by an extremist network. He shot and injured 2 students before fatally shooting himself. President Donald Trump is expanding the use of the National Guard to help fight crime in another major U.S. city. The president announced today he's sending the National Guard to Memphis, a city he calls deeply troubled. FBI data shows Memphis was among the top U.S. cities for violent crime and murder in recent years. The Trump administration touted the success of the National Guard deployment in D.C. in reducing crime in the district. The president said he would still like to deploy the Guard to Chicago next. The Federal Trade Commission has launched an investigation into 7 tech companies around the potential harms of artificial intelligence chatbots that could cause kids and teens harm. The inquiry focuses on AI chatbots that can serve as companions. The FTC wants information about how the firms measure the impacts of their chatbots on young users and how they protect against and alert parents to potential risks. The concern follows a series of lawsuits and reports accusing chatbots of being complicit in suicide deaths, sexual exploitation, and other harms to young people. A Texas teen has become the youngest person ever to make the U.S. team for the World Athletics Championships. 16-year-old Cooper Lutkenhouse will be one of 2,200 elite track and field athletes at the competition, which starts Saturday in Tokyo. Ahead of the U.S. National Championships, where athletes were competing for a spot on the team, his goal was just to make it to the finals, but he ended up winning silver in the 800 meter. His time cut more than a second off of the under-18 world record. Coming up on WTOL 11 Plus now, they're calling it a miracle. A young boy survives a rare medical procedure. After the break, we'll hear from the doctors and the boy's family.
Plus, stars will be hitting the red carpet this weekend for the 77th Annual Emmy Awards. Who is nominated and who's expected to take home most of those awards? John?
Going to be a warm and dry stretch of weather. Temperatures staying above average through late September, but will we have any chances of rain? I'll let you know in my forecast next.
If you're watching on WTOL 11 Plus, you already know about our exclusive streaming platform. Do you follow WTOL 11 on social media? Well, right now there's video you have to see on our TikTok page. Here's meteorologist Kaylee Bowers.
Allergy time matters, but let's find your best time outdoors. Before dawn is peak allergy relief, low pollen and fresh air. By mid-morning, pollen climbs. Grasses, trees, weeds all stir up. Midday is peak trouble time. That's why smart allergy plans avoid time outdoors from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And bedtime isn't a break either. Histamine rises, bedrooms trap allergens, so keep your rooms clean and use an air purifier. So early mornings are the safest, but you control your relief. Just gotta time it right.
Make sure you follow WTOL 11 on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or your favorite social media platform. Follow us now to stay ahead of breaking news, weather, and the stories that have people talking. Hey, coffee prices are going up. According to the Consumer Price Index, retail costs shot up more than 20% in August compared to 12 months prior. That's the biggest year-over-year leap for coffee since October 1997. Economists say the Trump administration's tariffs on coffee exporting countries like Brazil are playing a huge factor in the cost hike. The U.S. imports the most coffee in the world. The 77th annual Emmy Awards are on CBS Sunday to celebrate the best and brightest in TV. Emmy host and comedian Nate Bargatze is set to bring his family-friendly style to the big stage for the first time. This year, the comedy series The Studio on Apple TV earned a record 23 nominations. The Apple TV series Severance is likely to dominate the evening with stiff competition from HBO Max's medical series The Pitt. Anybody watch any of those shows at all?
No, you said you watched The Studio, right?
The Studio is great on Apple TV, yeah.
Nice. What was it about?
About a movie studio. Seth Rogen plays the head of a movie studio, and he's trying to keep a lot of balls in the air, keep his job, and there's a lot of moving parts. It's very, very funny.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I started watching a few episodes of The Paper, the new show
Oh,
based in
yeah.
Toledo. It's pretty funny. You can't expect it necessarily to be totally like The Office, but
No.
some similarities.
Yeah.
And it's not a ha-ha show. It's more of a clever, witty, the facial
okay.
expressions, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My wife didn't like it. She wasn't a fan of The Office, so she doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, as far as watching stuff this weekend, I know, Dan, you mentioned watching football out on the patio.
Buckeyes on the patio outside. How about that on a
Yeah,
Saturday?
sounds like a good forecast. Maybe eating dinner out on the patio as well.
Yeah.
It'll be a warm one this weekend. Mid to upper 80s, feeling like summer. So let's jump into that forecast for your weekend as we look ahead towards some of the final days of summer before we officially usher in the fall season. And you will see that first day of fall forecast coming up in my 10-day in just a bit. The weekend is going to bring a mild feel. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. Partly sunny and dry conditions are expected with a little bit brighter skies for your Sunday. Now, due to the east breeze, temperatures have been just a little bit cooler near the lakeshore. Low to mid 70s from Oak Harbor to Sandusky, near 80 degrees in Toledo for those high school football games. And west of town, Putnam and Defiance counties are the warm spots on the weather map with temperatures in the lower 80s. Satellite and radar painting a very quiet picture. And in case you missed it yesterday, drought conditions have expanded with a good chunk of the area now under a moderate drought. That's the brown color on the weather map. And this extends essentially along I-75 eastbound into Seneca and Sandusky counties and west along the river into Defiance, Paulding, and Van Wert counties as well. High pressure over the Great Lakes is going to keep sunshine in the forecast through the weekend, but you will notice in the top of your screen there is a weak weather disturbance up towards Wisconsin and Minnesota. Not going to do much for us. It is just going to barely miss us to the west. Could produce some showers into northern Illinois and northern Indiana, but not really expecting any local impacts out of that. So the hour-by-hour breakdown shows you those showers nosediving over Lake Michigan, Chicago back towards South Bend, Fort Wayne, and maybe even Indy could see some light rain. However, by the time this system arrives in our neck of the woods, just some clouds with no precip expected out of that disturbance. So what about temperatures? Well, the weekend is going to start off on a cooler note, at least in the morning. We're going to be in the mid-50s, although the afternoon turning very mild with a quick rise in those temperatures that'll send us into the 80s for both weekend days. High school football action tonight is going to be mild, 74 degrees, dropping back into the upper 60s by the fourth quarter, so might not even need the light jacket or the hoodie. And as far as weekend plans go, if you're heading to the Toledo night market Saturday, going to be partly sunny and dry, a very mild evening in downtown Toledo with temperatures in the 70s, and a nice morning at the farmers market downtown tomorrow morning. Weekend forecast, partly sunny, very warm. Sunday is the warmer of the 2 days. We're going to be at 82 degrees Saturday and upper 80s Sunday, possibly even making a run for the 90-degree mark. Likely dry and milder this weekend. Next week, the big impact going to be mild and dry conditions, and it is possible that moderate drought continues to grow and maybe even expands as a result of the deficit that we are in the rainfall department. Next weekend, possible showers. Emphasis on possible. We are watching a cold front that could usher in a pattern change to start off the official fall season, and that could bring us some scattered showers into next weekend. Although in the meantime, this mild and dry pattern does look like it is here to stay for the next 7 days at least. And above average temperature is going to be expected through the latter half of September, with temperatures that are expected to be warmer than normal. We're going to be in the upper 80s Sunday and Monday. Those are some of the warmest days of the forecast. Midweek staying in the mid 80s, and that pattern shift could usher in a cold front next Saturday that would spark some scattered showers, and we do drop off to the 70s by next Sunday, and looking ahead towards some slightly cooler weather for the first day of fall next Monday. Kaylee, Dan?
A family is calling it a miracle that their baby survived a potentially fatal lung condition thanks to a rare medical procedure.
Our sister station in Texas has this story.
It's a busy morning. Good morning.
At Texas Children's Hospital in Austin.
Welcome back.
Pediatric surgeon Dr. Matthias Brizzoni is checking up on a very special patient. Meet Knox, 3 months old and every bit a survivor. Earlier this year, Knox underwent a rare and risky medical procedure.
You did a good job.
That's because he wasn't even born yet and was still inside his mother.
This baby was diagnosed with a big lung mass. It pushes the heart out of the way and really compromises how the heart beats. The mom is basically in the operating room, and with a needle, you go through the skin, through the uterus, through the amniotic sac, and into the baby's chest to find this mass that's inside his chest. And through that needle, you advance the shunt, which is a catheter that's open-ended on both sides. One end is in the big balloon inside the baby's chest. The other end is in the amniotic fluid, which is a big cavity with lower pressure. So that's how we were able to decompress the lung. The heart gets back to the middle where it's supposed to live, and the pregnancy continues.
Weeks later, immediately after Knox was delivered by C-section, a surgical team stepped in again and removed the shunt and a part of his lung. Knox spent several weeks in the ICU, but eventually was well enough to go home.
He's very sweet. He smiles a lot when you make faces at him. Can I give you a hug?
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you. The way that they work and the way that they operate and the way that they take care of other people's children like their own is a miracle. I know I'm biased, but he's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen.
Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
It's like it's the hardest thing I ever went through, losing him. He was a very, very special person.
Still to come, a special needs man shot to death in his home in Toledo. The victim's family sharing more about what happened that night as they continue to seek for answers and justice.
Plus, a captain with Swanton Fire Department is out of a job. What he's accused of doing as 11 Investigates looks further into his personnel file. Welcome back in. Here are some other stories we're tracking tonight.
A captain with the Swanton Fire Department's been fired. Jeffrey Dawson was under internal investigation for forging signatures on run reports. Firefighters fill out those documents after they're called out to help. The forgeries were discovered when other firefighters came forward to say they noticed the signatures on the reports were not theirs. 11 Investigates looked further into Dawson's personnel file. Reports state he gave an intoxicated female co-worker a ride home from a party in her car to the firehouse in February, while colleagues rode back to the station in a fire truck. The investigator concluded that because of that, the fire truck was unable to be used for an emergency and that the intoxicated woman could not have been brought onto village property.
A Toledo family is mourning the loss of a 38-year-old special needs man shot and killed in his own home. Toledo police say 19-year-old Darius Horton shot Hassan Cummings in the stomach on July 30th before running from the home. A warrant is out for his arrest on aggravated assault charges. Cummings' family says the situation is complicated. Horton's mother was Hassan's longtime caregiver, and Horton himself grew up around the family. Additionally, family members claim Hassan accidentally shot himself, but Horton brought the gun. Hassan's father says that makes the loss even harder, especially since his son has overcome major health struggles.
I miss him so bad. It's like it's the hardest thing I ever went through, losing him. He was a very, very special person.
His family is pushing for Hassan's law that would require homicide charges if someone with special needs is killed after being exposed to a gun.
We have an update on a school bus crash that sent 10 people, including 8 Northwood Junior High students, to the hospital with minor injuries yesterday. Happened last night, actually, after a junior high football game at the intersection of County Roads 41 and 32 in Sandusky County. Officials say the driver of the bus failed to stop at a stop sign, colliding with an SUV. Ohio State Highway Patrol was unable to comment, did confirm the incident remains under investigation. Northwood superintendent confirmed all students involved appeared to be safe and doing well. He also told WTOL 11 in part, "We're deeply grateful to the first responders who arrived quickly, ensured the safety of our students, and provided immediate medical attention." Agencies including the Ohio State Highway Patrol, Sandusky County EMS, Gibsonburg Fire, Helena Fire Department, Bradford Fire Department, and others who responded were with efficiency and compassion, bringing reassurance in a moment of uncertainty.
A follow-up to a story we told you about yesterday, the idea of consolidating school districts to save money. WTOL 11 spoke to the person who suggested the whole idea. Christopher Galloway is the Lake County auditor. He also serves on Governor Mike DeWine's property tax reform work group. He says between 60 to 70% of property tax bills go to schools. He said educational funding must be part of the conversation about tax reform.
One of the things that we have to be willing to put on the table is the idea of consolidating within a state, with our state, from 611 school districts down to 94.
The Lake County auditor says they are just getting started. He tells us he will roll out his entire proposal sometime in the next few weeks.
Are we ready? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Try it again. Keep your head. All right.
Well, the city of Toledo unveiled its new accessible playground at Schneider Park today. The playground is right next to the soccer courts, which opened last fall in South Toledo and is part of a $450,000 project. This is the 4th accessible park for the city.
There's a new place to grab some wine in the Glass City. Toledo's Share Wine and the Wine Room Speakeasy held a ribbon cutting today. The owner tells us guests get to have a unique experience with a behind-the-scenes look at downtown's first wine manufacturing facility since the 1800s.
And we wanted to bring that concept into a space in Toledo where people from Toledo can enjoy the intimate space, the opportunity to just connect and just share a glass of wine. We wanted to take our vision and just celebrate our city by opening something unique and different.
The Wine Room Speakeasy is reservation only. It's located off an alley near the Cock and Bull Bar in downtown Toledo. You've already found Toledo's only local, live, exclusively streaming newscast, but have you had a chance to check out the other programming here on WTOL 11+? This week on the leaderboard, we counted down the top BGSU football players of this century. Here's a sneak peek into the list.
Number 2 was another great, Josh Harris, one of the best quarterbacks in Falcon history as well. Harris led Bowling Green's resurgence under Urban Meyer and Greg Brandon. There he threw for more than 9,000 yards and 70 touchdowns, while also running for more than 2,000 yards. Harris guided the Falcons to national rankings and a bowl victory, helped establishing himself as one of the most dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks in MAC history. Now his son Jacob is a tight end at BG. We sat down with Josh this week about his impact as a Falcon.
You know, I certainly came into school with a chip on my shoulder, but at the end of the day, I just try to do my job very well to the best of my ability. It has taken me decades to understand really the impact that the teams that I played on had on the university. I've had regular students come up to me and say, "You're the reason why I came to the school." I'm like, I don't even know how we get there. So we just try to play a solid brand of football. To see his name on the Jumbotron as a starter and to watch him doing the get hype stuff, and it's emotional at times, I can't wait to see him really step into his own role where and it's happening, right? But eventually he won't be, Josh Harris's son. He'll be his own thing.
Josh was a great one.
Number 1 is none other than Falcon Freddie Barnes himself. The wide receiver had a season for the ages in 2009, catching 155 passes, which is still the NCAA single-season record. He also racked up more than 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns that year, finishing 9th in Heisman voting and earning consensus All-American honors. Barnes finished his career with more than 4,700 career receiving yards and 38 touchdowns. This helped establish him as the greatest Falcon of the modern era. Barnes chatted with us this week about his time as a Falcon.
My junior year, I had a bunch of injuries, missed a couple games with MCL stuff, and I wanted to do better. So I trained hard, and I got blessed with a coaching staff that trusted me. Coach Warren Ruggiero, he told my mom he was going to make me famous at the spring game, and he did. My teammates, when I committed, I connected to the guys, and for me, it was just, that's what all my other teammates stated was what brought them to the team. It was just the camaraderie. The guys there, they were dogs, and they were real, and I resonated with that. So
a lot of awesome Falcons on that list.
Definitely. A lot of stats we read for each one, but I think the biggest thing is just the upward trend that continues. Even though Bowling Green isn't in a Power 4 conference, it still has that relevancy at the next level, continuing that trend from the beginning of the century until now, 2025, obviously with Harold Fannin Jr.
You can watch the full episode of The Leaderboard on WTOL 11+.
In Oklahoma, a first grader got the surprise of a lifetime. Ava's dad surprised her at school after serving nearly a year overseas. Austin was deployed in the Middle East as a mechanic for the U.S. Army. The heartwarming reunion was orchestrated with a little help from her school. The principal says she organized a surprise last minute with Ava's mom. They decided to keep it a surprise for all of the other students, too.
It was amazing. It's all thanks to this one right here and this wonderful school for letting me.
It was very exciting.
Oh, well, now that Austin's reunited with his family, he is non-deployable for 2 years. He hopes to be able to spend as much time as he can with his family. Those videos are usually hard to watch on social media.
They really are.
Lots of waterworks typically.
Yeah, Ava never gonna forget that moment for the rest of her life.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Beautiful weather for this weekend.
Yeah, great night for high school football, and we've got a great weekend for outdoor activities as well. Lower 80s Saturday, mid to upper 80s with that summer feel Sunday and Monday. And as we look ahead towards the work week, smooth sailing with the weather with mid 80s and lots of sunshine. Could see some showers next Saturday, and next Monday, that's the first official day of fall, and it is going to start to feel a bit more like it with temperatures down in the 70s. So soak up the warmth while it's here.
Just enjoy the weekend while it's here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here on WTOL 11 Plus. Have a good weekend.